All right, let's get started. Welcome, everybody. Really glad to see you back. How many in here are returning veterans? All right, and the rest of you are new to Rowan. So, great. Glad to see so many people here. Honestly, we do these because I think you're going to get a lot of useful information on how to kind of plan your next semester and plan your next couple years here. We do these every semester, and I think every semester, even if you've been to this one, I would encourage you to come to the next one because there's always something new that you may not have gotten at this one that we'll do in the one in the spring. And if nothing else, we usually have food. So, yeah, thanks for coming. Week one, done. I should say almost done because actually I have a 6:30 class, so there's still that class to go tonight. But yeah, you made it through the first week. Way to go. So this is what some of the things I wanted to go over. I wanted to do some faculty introductions, some advice for RTF majors. I want to talk just a little bit about student clubs. I want to talk a little bit about internships, some of the spring classes that are sort of special topics classes that you may not know what they're about. So because you're going to be registering for classes sometime around the end of October, beginning of November. I want to talk about this brand new program that I'm very excited about. And let's see, is there anything else? Oh, scholarships. Yeah, we've got some scholarships available, and we'll start sort of spreading the info about that this semester. So that's all hopefully useful information to you. So let's go with some introductions. Sorry, I took them off of our website for the most part. So because some of you are new and you may not know who our faculty members are, I just want to take a moment so that you can associate a name with a face. This one up here in the upper left-hand corner is Kim Akas. We're delighted to have her with us this semester. She couldn't be with us today because her husband and daughter are actually going back to the UK. So we hired her from the UK, and she's going to help us with a new master's degree program that we're trying to get up and running, and also teach classes in television and television history. So those of you that are interested in those subjects, you'll have Kim. She's really great and a really dynamic researcher. So I think you'll enjoy her classes. Let's see, who else is not here? I don't see John Mason here.
No, John Mason's there. Just not
No, I mean here.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm introducing right now the ones that aren't here so you sort of know who they are. That's John Mason. He teaches our advanced film classes. Those of you that are interested in film, you want to make sure you get into that class. This is Keir Politz. He also teaches our screenwriting classes, advanced screenwriting, episodic screenwriting. So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in any kind of screenwriting, make an appointment to see Keir because he's your guy. Also, he just finished a short film. I forget what it's called. Anybody remember what Keir's film is called?
Oh, it's with the piano. Shoot.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's a really, really great film. We're going to hopefully have a chance to show it. It's like 30 minutes, so hopefully we'll get a chance to show it this semester. Let's see, I think everybody else is here. David Bean Cooley is here. You want to stand up so everybody can see who you are?
I want to stand up to see if I still can. Stand up.
This semester, David Byrne. Where did that come from? David Byrne.
Is this my classroom?
David Bean Cooley is teaching the Ken Burns class. He's also teaching TV History 1 and TV History 2. He also teaches quality TV. So if you're taking any of those classes, you'll have David. And also he shells out tons of dollars to students who are really good in his class.
I did a $5 one.
A $5? You're getting really bold there.
Well, I pronounced his name correctly at the end of the roll, and it's the first time in 20 years I've gotten every single name right.
Wow, very impressive.
So the last one alphabetically got the bonus. Doesn't seem fair now that I've thought about it.
That's your problem, is you thought about it, I think. Next to David up here at the front is Chris Winkler. Chris teaches TV1, TV2, and live event production, and a new class that I'm going to, if he can stay here for just a little bit, I want to talk about some of these new classes that we're offering so he can explain the sports production class that we're going to be offering for the first time. Joe Bierman is the distinguished gentleman of the department now that Carl Frandino and Ned Eckhart and all those other folks are gone.
Please hold your applause. It's so embarrassing.
Joe Bierman teaches sections of Film 1. He also teaches Contemporary International Cinema. I'm like old and forgetting some of the other classes. Film History. Joe teaches a variety of classes for us. Colleen Montgomery teaches, most of you probably are having her at this point in time because Applied Media Aesthetics hopefully is the first class you take as a RTF major. She'll also be teaching a class on Disney next semester. Again, if you can just hang for a little bit to talk about the Disney class. Paul Montacone, our newest faculty member. Paul was teaching with us as a sort of like on an adjunct basis for a couple years, and we hired him as a full-time tenure track faculty member. He teaches pretty much all of the sections of media industries, and next semester we'll be teaching Film History 1. Amanda Allman, she's also a relatively new faculty member. I guess you've been in the RTF department maybe 2 years? 2 years. Amanda was in the art department, and we're very happy to have her because she teaches animation, biomedical art, and visualization. She teaches some of the game design courses. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, you can talk to Amanda about some of those classes because I think they go really, really well with RTF and some of our RTF courses. Nina Isaacson, also a new faculty member. Some of you also may be having her this semester. She is teaching media. You know, I really am getting old because I've been doing this all day, is just forgetting this and forgetting that. Foundations of Media Production. It's our boot camp class. Nina, very happy to have her. She came to us from Temple University. So probably will be teaching some other classes, but right now she's teaching Foundations of Media Production. And let's see, am I missing anybody? Olszewski, yeah, John Olszewski. He actually has a class right now, teaching new media production. So that's generally what he does. If you're interested in new media, which I think everybody who's interested in production should be interested in new media, since it is, a very important distribution platform, you should talk to John. Make an appointment to talk to John. John also, I'll add this, did a wonderful film that premiered at Sundance in 2017, was shown nationally on PBS last year, called Quest. It was a documentary that he spent nearly 10 years on. He is nominated for an Emmy Award, a National Emmy Award in 2 categories for the film. So we're crossing our fingers that on September 24th he wins an Emmy. So he's also one of our faculty members. Sherry Beeson teaches Film History 2, teaches Film Noir, teaches censorship course. So she teaches a variety of film studies courses for us. So some of you may have had her, some of you may have her. Am I missing anybody? Deanna Nicolay. Deanna Nicolay teaches documentary. She couldn't be here. She teaches the Advanced Documentary Production course and TV2. Also somebody, if you're interested in television production, you really want to make room in your schedule for her class because that's an advanced level class, along with John Mason, who I'll embarrass here in a second. Those classes, the films that come out of those classes consistently win national awards. So if you are looking for things that might get you a nice resume starter, make sure you get to the prereqs so that you can get to advanced film and so that you can get to documentary production. John, you just want to, I'm just like letting people associate a name with the face. So now you got it. You'll remember that always. Now, did I forget anybody?
You haven't introduced yourself.
Oh, I guess I haven't introduced myself. My name's Keith Brand. I'm the chair of the Radio, Television, and Film Department. If you have, feel free to come in and talk to me. Best to make an appointment. If you're having any issues, for registration and stuff, make sure you talk to Gina Gondos, who's our faculty advisor. I would suspect that almost all of you have seen Gina. If you haven't, you should make an appointment as soon as possible. She's going to get you out of here so that you're not spending extra money on your college tuition. So if you're coming here as a transfer student, hopefully she's going to get you out of here in 2 years. If you're coming here as a freshman, hopefully she's going to get you out of here in 4 years. But only if you make an appointment to talk to her and make sure you run your classes by her. So for that stuff, please talk to Gina, get on her schedule. She doesn't do walk-ins because she's, gets a lot of appointments with students. So you need to think ahead and plan ahead so that you can get an appointment with Gina. And me, if like any other issues that are happening while you're a student here at Rowan, feel free to come and see me. I teach sound communication and some audio classes, and taught queer film a year ago. So I teach a variety of different classes here. So now I think I got everybody.
If you're a freshman, might you have a different advisor? Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Those of you that are freshmen probably have talked to Esther Mummert. Esther basically does all students up to 30 credits. So if you haven't had 30 credits yet, you'll probably talk to Esther. Once you get beyond that, you should be talking to Gina. She basically deals with sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Got it? All right. You guys, if you can stay. If you have a class next semester, one of the special topics classes. David knows how to take some advice.
You guys, any questions you have, there are people who answer them.
Thank you, David. Okay, so advice for RTF majors. I always talk about this for those of you that I saw over the summer during some of the orientations. This, meaning your college education, it's a huge investment. If you're here for 2 years, probably costs at least $50,000. If you're here for 4 years, it probably costs at least $100,000. When I graduated in 78, I graduated $5,000 in debt, and that took me almost 15 years to pay off. Imagine the average student graduates Rowan with $30,000 in debt. So the reason I say that is you have to take this very seriously, because you find if you're not staying on top of registration and knowing what classes you're supposed to take, you could easily end up staying here for a 5th or a 6th year, and then you start adding all that extra money, and they ask, as soon as you graduate, they want you to start paying that back at 4, 5, 6, 8% interest. Start calculating what those costs are. So the two things is number one is take this seriously, and number two is take advantage of the stuff that we offer you here in the department, so that by the time you graduate, you have a sense of where you want to head in the field. There's lots of different places you could head. I'm delighted if you decide you want to go on to graduate school, but that's something you should be thinking about now. Or if you just kind of want to work for a few years in the media production industry, that's a big industry. That could mean anything. Anything from lighting to cinematography to craft services. There's lots of different places where you can kind of fit in within the industry, but I'm kind of hoping that you can figure that out by the time you're a senior. And I think we offer you ways beyond the classroom for you to be able to do that. But that's something you really need to be thinking about now. It's like figure out through all of these classes that you're taking, what you're good at. What are you drawn to? And be open, because I find a lot of students come here and never thought about being a writer, and they figured out that like that was a kind of a talent that they didn't think that they had, and now they want to be a writer. So those kind of surprises can happen to you within your 2 or 4 years here at Rowan. But I do hope that by the time you're a senior, you have a sense of where you may want to head within your career. Now that could take all sorts of funny twists and turns. And I've often said, if we had a reunion 20 years from now and you came back and you were working as a real estate agent, fine. We're going to give you awesome skills to be a really good real estate agent. But when you become a senior, you should have a real sense of like, where do you want to start heading? What is it you're good at? So some of that you'll get from your classes. Some of that you can get in some of your internships or working with the student clubs. And I'll talk about those just in a moment. So maximize your time here. There are lots of different things that you can do as a college student. Intramural sports, student programmers, all sorts of stuff. My recommendation to you is your free time, spend it within the department, in the student clubs, trying to figure out what it is that you're really good at. Spend your extra time here, and then I hope you'll find by the time you're a senior, you'll start to get a sense of like where you want to head in the industry. Because the worst thing in the world is to be a senior and like, I don't know what I want to do. And then you've spent all that money and, you sort of still don't know. So start thinking about that stuff. Make sure if you're interested in the film industry, you take advanced film. That's our capstone course. As I said a little bit earlier, that's the one that generally gets awards, and you will learn a lot by working on that advanced film. Same thing for documentary production. That's an advanced level class. They really work you hard in both of those classes, but I think you'll come through it knowing that you've really learned something. Find a mentor. That may very well be the best piece of advice anybody could give you. Doesn't have to be a faculty member. It can be. If you've taken a class with somebody and you really like them, email them and say, can I sit down and talk to you about the field? And try to keep that ongoing conversation. But it could be another student, somebody who's ahead of you by 1 year. It's all about your network. I'm finding out more and more that your success, certainly in media production, is about your network. I always tell this story about our student that graduated 2008, headed to LA, knew that he was interested in visual effects, and worked in small production houses in LA. And then one day somebody came up to him and said, we've got this brand new show. We need a visual effects coordinator. Only deal is it shoots in Northern Ireland. He was young, probably 24, 25, and he said, sure, let's try it. He's just won his 6th Emmy Award and is probably going to get his 7th for Game of Thrones. That's not the moral of the story. The moral of the story is he hired 4 Rowan graduates to work with him. He didn't hire the Rowan graduate who didn't show up on the RTN shoot, showed up late, was unprepared. He hired somebody who was good. So you need to be thinking like in your classes and even in the student clubs, you're always trying to prove yourself because you never know who that person is who graduates before you, who has that ability to hire you. Because that is the one way that works more than any other to get a job is the network. That friend of yours who got a good job then went on to someplace else that calls you and says, hey, there's a job opening. So you need to always be thinking about the network. Find a mentor, either a faculty person or another student who you think is really good, and start to make your network while you're here at Rowan. Student clubs, we have 3 of them. WGLS, great experience. It's not, it's not something you just walk in and play whatever music you want to play. You're working from a playlist, but also it's not just music. They do sports production there. If you're interested in sports play-by-play, there is no reason in the world that you should not be at WGLS because they broadcast every single Rowan University sport. Every sportscaster worth his or her weight probably started in radio. So go to WGLS. The first meeting, the info meeting, is this Thursday, 5 o'clock in Student Center 129. So take advantage of that. It's a really great, very structured experience. It's the only one that you can't start immediately. You have to go through 4 weeks of training and then take a test. And so it takes a little bit of time, but it will be well worth it if you're interested in radio. Cinema workshop, if you're interested in film, all of you should be hopping down to their office. And the good thing about cinema workshop is you could walk down there first thing tomorrow morning and say, hey, I'm interested. You don't have to have taken film 1. You don't have to have taken any of the film classes. They'll take you. They make 3 short films every semester, all student driven. We don't tell them what films to make. So they're student scripts, all student driven. This is the way you find out if you don't know, if you like film, but you don't yet know where you fit in the film industry, this is how you start to find out. First film, maybe you'll be the boom operator. Second film, maybe you'll be a script supervisor. Third film, maybe you'll do props, and you just kind of start to work around each of the job categories on a film set, and then all of a sudden you start to find, wow, I'm really good at putting food out and making sure everyone gets fed. Great. Maybe the most important job on a film set is making sure everybody is fed. But this is how you find out like what you're really interested in doing. And eventually with Cinema Workshop, it could be your script. You could be the director. It could be the editor. So, and they don't, like I said, no prerequisites there. You can start immediately. Wow, how did I catch that? They meet Thursdays in here. Probably the first meeting would be this Thursday, I'm guessing. Rowan Television Network, same thing, except they shoot 6 or 7 television shows in our studios every week. Again, job categories, a little bit different on a television studio, in a television studio, than on a film set. So you get a sense of what are the jobs to do on a television show. Some of the students pitch shows to RTN. So if you have a good idea for a TV show, you could pitch it to them, and perhaps they'll do it. But they're doing anywhere from 5 to 7 shows weekly in our studios. So you can get a massive amount of experience working with RTN. I'll also say they do football games, and they do ice hockey games. They shoot a lot of other stuff on campus. I sort of feel like if you're interested in being a cinematographer, there's no reason that you shouldn't be shooting football games if the opportunity arises, because you're just going to get valuable shooting experience. Like if you want to be a camera person, shoot football games. Better yet, shoot ice hockey games. They're faster. You're going to get a lot of experience. This is the kind of thing you need to be thinking about in terms of your careers. Just trying to get as much experience and as much of a situation where you can make mistakes. After you go out and they start to pay you, it becomes a little bit harder. So, here's where you start to learn stuff. So take advantage of these student clubs as an opportunity to really learn something. I will tell you that more and more in the future, we're going to be hiring students to do production work. I'm hoping maybe by next semester we'll have our own production company where we're seeking internal work and paying students. Paying students to shoot, edit, and do all the work for internal clients here at Rowan and perhaps external clients. So you can get paid to do this, and you get stuff that you can put on your resume. But we're going to be looking for the students who are interested and good and have proven themselves in some of the classes. So again, this is this idea that in the class, here's your chance to show us what you're made of. Internships. I've talked to so many employers that have said, we really value students that have done internships. So I know it's not listed as a required class, but I think you ought to really think about doing an internship. I know that there's a lot of RTF requirements, but you also have a lot of free electives. And I think it's very, very valuable for you to get some professional experience and to do an internship. You have to have 75 credits, which mostly means you have to be a junior before you do your first internship. But we've had students that are, doing internships all over the place. Deanna Nicolay, who's not here, we talked about her. She is the person who handles internships. So if you have any questions, just reach out to her, and she'll kind of get you started on the path to doing research for getting an internship. You have to maintain a decent average. And for a film or TV internship, we really require that you've taken at least Film 1 or TV 1. So think about that. That's just another tool in your toolkit to get a job. But remember that, again, a lot of employers have expressed to me they really like to see students who have done an internship. Just proves that you can function well in a professional environment. All right. You're going to be registering again sometime starting in the middle of October through November, depending on how many credits you have. Just wanted to go over some of the classes that you will see as what's called special topics classes. You may not know what they are, but that's why I thought I would kind of take some time for me to explain some of these classes and let some of the teachers who are going to be teaching some of these classes explain them. First one is immersive media production. We ran that for the first time last year. This is producing for planetariums. If you don't know this, we have actually a planetarium on campus. And the students last semester, I thought, did a really, really good job doing a show for a planetarium on the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. They did a great show, a really, really nice job. So this is like producing for alternative media environments. A 360-degree dome. Entirely different set of production aesthetics and pre-production work that you would need to do when you're working on a dome versus working on a regular film set. So that's going to be in the spring. Again, probably only 16, 17 students will be allowed to take that class, so they're all first come, first served. Joe, you want to talk about sports production? Chris, do you want to talk about sports production? Yeah, mix them up. Yeah. First time we're offering this. Those of you probably know we also have a sports communication major. So this will be probably an elective class for them, but it will count towards the sports production concentration within sports cam. Also, this will count as a upper level production concentration class, one of the 4 that you need to take if you're going to be a production major.
So it's brand new, never been run before. It'll be the first time in the spring. At present, it's going to be a hybrid of field and studio, so you will have had to have taken TV Production 1 in order to get into the course. So if you're a freshman, it's probably not going to be in your wheelhouse this year, but we plan to offer it in years following. So studio and field, kind of an offshoot of our live event course. We're in the last project in live event. We do a live multicam switch broadcast stream style, so we'll do a little bit of that. But we're also going to work on working with athletics to fill some of their needs and what they're deficient in. So they do a lot of single camera streaming, but we'll add multi-camera streaming. But we'll also most likely start shooting player profiles, highlight videos, and things that a lot of team media, if you ever get an internship or have a job opportunity for working for a sports team, every single one of those teams does highlight videos of every single one of their players. And if you know how to do that, you can get a foot in the door a lot faster than just coming in knowing production, but not necessarily knowing sports-centric production. So that's some of what we're working on for the spring course in sports production.
And even if you choose not to go into sports, you could do a highlight reel of your own life. Might be very, might be very interesting. Deconstructing Disney, a very popular course. We offered it for the first time in the spring.
Yes, last year. So I'm teaching Deconstructing Disney in the spring. It's most likely that you'll get into it if you're a senior, to be honest. It's 30 seats and it fills up pretty immediately. Sometimes juniors get in, but I plan to offer it into the future as well. It's a studies class. We look at film, TV, and a little bit of video games as well. And the kind of subtitle of the course is From Mickey to Marvel. So we start with Disney in the 1920s as an independent animation studio, and then see how it goes from there to being the Walt Disney Company, one of the largest multinational media corporations in the world that owns goddamn everything, right? So that's what we do. With the mix of media studies methods, so it's also a good way to introduce you to different ways of thinking about media, especially if you want to go on into graduate school. And just a side note, if anyone's interested in women and gender studies, I'm on the Women and Gender Studies committee, and we have a minor that's quite easy to fulfill and has a lot of excellent classes in it. Deconstructing Disney counts as one of the classes.
Oh, and that's a good segue to, thank you. That's a good segue to another class. Is that on the list here? It's called TV and Identity that we're going to be offering next semester, and it's about the sort of the cultural underpinnings of television. So we'll talk about gender issues, race, class, LGBT issues within television, and Kim Cass is going to be teaching that for the first time here also next semester. So when you see that on the schedule, if you're interested in those subjects and how they play out within television programming, that could be a really great course for you. And I'm going to sit down because I really am getting old.
There you go. So we're launching a new course next semester. We're teaching a special topics. We're going to roll it in on a regular basis after that. The sports film as a genre. So it's a studies course in which we're looking at the ways in which we presented sport on the screen. So we're going to look at a variety of different types of films. Yes, we'll probably look at Rocky at some point. We'll look at those kind of big Hollywood films. We'll also look at some sports documentaries, maybe, that you haven't seen. We looked at how we frame sports and how we sort of create the narrative around a real sport event. So we'll probably end up looking at maybe boxing in the 1960s or something like this. We'll also be looking at sort of a wide variety of sports. So one of the things is we'll look at sports and the natural world. So we may actually end up screening something like a fishing documentary, or looking at the way we present hunters on screen, things like this. We'll also look at things, one week I'm going to do something called the Achilles heel, where we look at sports and injury and mortality. So we may look at something like Brian's Song, or we may look at films about how we punish our bodies in certain types of sports. We will screen a lot of films, talk a lot about different types of sports, and we'll do a lot of readings of sports writers and see how we did one thing on the screen, but we do a different thing on the page, and sort of how they work together. That'll be the spring.
Will you talk about the use of slow-mo in sports films?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'm going to walk you to the flash in slow-mo. I'll be late every week. But it'll be, yeah, we're gonna look at some NFL films. We've got a lot of students who graduate from here. NFL films, Major League Baseball have been big hiring places of our graduates. A lot of people want to go there. So it's worth spending some time saying, well, how does our culture present sports? What are the narratives that we create around these contests?
Good. I already talked about TV and identity. Again, this is Kim Cass, who's going to be teaching that next semester. If you're interested in, like I said, race, identity, LGBT issues, gender, and how they play out within the TV industry, that's going to be a great class, I'm sure. And then motion graphics, which we've been offering quite a bit. It's an online class. Some of you have those skills. This is a good kind of way to hone those skills. You know, how to take type and graphics and set them into motion. And speaking of motion, maybe Amanda that would probably be a good opportunity. Maybe if you want to talk about some of the classes that you think would be great for RTF majors.
There are a couple of classes that aren't on the spring class list. It's Introduction to Game Media Design, so it's from board games to virtual reality to augmented reality. So I know we're going to team up with Erica for immersive production. That class and Introduction to 3D Modeling. So we're going to create virtual models that you can use in green screen and post-production compositing for TV and sports, as well as for the immersive media production course. So both those classes, Introduction to Game Media Design and Introduction to 3D Modeling, are in the spring, and this fall is Introduction to Storyboarding and Animation, which we're going to start offering each semester. So a couple more, if you're interested in those, you can email me, and Gina knows about them. And yeah, they're tight to get into, kind of like Disney, but email me and we will try to get you in the class. They're intro classes, so there are no prereqs, and they're for the Cubs in Game Media Design.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
We have a
Also,
certificate here.
be familiar with the minors and CUGs that we have, because it's such a great way to add extra tools into your toolkit, is adding a 6-credit minor or a 6-class minor or 4-class CUGs. We have lots of them that I think are very relatable to what you're doing here in radio, television, and film. Let's see, anything else I forgot? Oh, while you're here, since it's the capstone class, maybe talk just a little bit about advanced film, since that's a class that if you're interested in film, we would hope that you can kind of get into.
Sure. So advanced film runs in the fall semester every year. It's a bit of a producing class, so the entire class works as one production unit. We option material, we develop the script, we do all the pre-production, we do all the production as one big crew. It's a great way to get your hands dirty. We run it like a real set, so you know, we use all the gear we have here, but we also cast from you know, wherever we can, from Philly, from New York, from the area. If we need additional gear for our projects, sometimes we rent from rental houses, but it's really run like a real set. So it's a great experience to get some real set experience, and then to go out into the world with something on your reel. Yeah.
And the one that was not last semester's, because it was last year's advanced film project, because it's sort of just completing, and it's now working its way in the film festival circuit. But the one from the year before has been to a number of film festivals and won first place national competition at BEA. And these are things that are, you know, that you get on your resume. Like you have a kind of a one that has received recognition, and these are the things that you're looking for to put on your resume. So you get them from those capstone courses.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, because we're treating this like an actual film that you would actually create out into the world, part of it is also developing a festival strategy for it and figuring out what kind of festivals you would send it to, and that's part of what we do in that class. So the last 2 films both won first place nationally in the BEA competition. The one from last year is just finished, and we're sending it out to festivals now. So,
Right. I expect first place awards now. That's the problem I'm doing. So first, that scared the crap out of me because I forgot that I had it on automatic play. No, I knew it was in there, but it just was on autoplay. So I think Amanda did a great job of doing an animation for a program that I'm really, really proud of, and I'm hoping that we'll have our first cohort this coming summer. We hope to take maybe max 18 students out to LA this summer and do a 6-credit experience with them, a 3-credit class and a 3-credit internship. So we're going to be cultivating those students this semester. There'll be an application process. You'll apply online. Basically, it'll be a resume, cover letter, and if you have any kind of media that you've made, you can submit that, and then we'll be selecting those anywhere from 15 to 18 students to go out to LA. It's expensive. We'll have some money that's available to kind of mitigate some of the expenses, but you'll have to undertake some of those expenses yourself. But it can be a life-changing experience, especially for those of you that are thinking that you'd like to relocate to LA. This is a good way to kind of get your feet wet and see if it's for you. Right now, we've got about 60 to 70 Rowan alumni that live in LA and work in LA. Everywhere from the executive producer of The Ellen Show and the executive producer of the recent A Star Is Born, both Rowan graduates, all the way down to PAs on sets for weekly television shows. So we have all kinds of people that are working in LA. So it's not just 6 credits. We'll have experiences each week. We'll have alumni that will come in and talk to you. So it'll be, I think a really fulfilling, really full 8 weeks, 8+ weeks out there. Be thinking about that. We really are looking for juniors, but we will take seniors. So juniors and seniors can apply. We're probably not as interested in sophomores or freshmen, but kind of be thinking about that. If you're still a freshman or a sophomore, think about heading towards the point where you could actually apply for our Rowan in LA program. So that's very, very exciting.
Where would be housing?
We may house you on Emerson's LA campus, but there's a couple of, to be honest with you, there's about 12 universities that do summer LA programs. So they're all, they all have, there's housing out there, and I'm still kind of working on exactly where it's going to be, but it'll be some kind of a student dormitory type of place. Other questions about Rowan in LA?
What is it if you're graduating for?
Even if you're a senior, I'd still say apply for it. Yeah, I'll see what the pool looks like. We'll favor juniors, but even if you're a senior, still apply for it, and if we can, we'll try to accommodate.
When will that apply?
December will be the deadline for applying. And then we'll make the choice in January. That'll give you the entire spring semester to find an internship. We're not going to be giving you internships, but we have lots of resources that'll be online where you can find some internships. We have a couple that we'll reserve for our Rowan and LA students. I'm hoping that there'll be a paid internship with The Ellen Show that might be available for one of the LA students. And also our alum, who's the executive producer of A Star Is Born, we're talking with her about maybe taking one of our students on as an LA intern. So some of those could be paid. Otherwise, there'll be some unpaid internships out there.
So how long would the whole
8 weeks.
8 weeks?
Some of it may be longer. Some of it will depend on your internship. They may want you for a little bit longer. So we'll try to be flexible with the housing. But the class, I'm not sure which class we're going to do. We'll probably do a cinematography class out there. That's about 8 weeks. So the class internship, we're thinking somewhere around 8 weeks. Probably start June 1st, somewhere around the beginning of June.
What days of the class would be? Would be 2 days of classes?
The way that I had it planned last year, and we had to abandon it kind of at the last minute. But I'm using the same model. The class will be 2 days a week. We'll reserve Wednesday at a certain time for alumni to come in, or that we'll take trips, to see really cool things in and around LA. And the rest of the time will allow you to do your internship. So you should easily be able to get a lot of stuff in that time period.
How much is it?
Don't know yet. But it's, we have some money that will be available to go against tuition, but it's 6 credits and your housing. So, and any kind of transportation you need. So you can kind of get a sense of what the cost will be. I'll have some more concrete numbers for everybody shortly when we start to talk a little bit more about this in depth. Yeah,
Do you mean like current juniors or like
current juniors.
that are going to be seniors?
Current juniors, but we will, if you're a senior, if you're a current senior getting ready to graduate, still I'd say apply if you're interested in this. But juniors are kind of our target audience. Other questions about rowing in LA?
So where is the class? If you just not where?
It'll probably be like last year we were going to do it on Emerson's campus, and they had a classroom and they also had equipment we could rent. So that's probably, we're looking for something like that. So it'll be, hopefully, in the best of all worlds, it'll be where you're actually staying.
So more like, will like people who work like faculty members here like be there?
No, I will be there. I'll be there for a part of it, but we actually will most likely hire a Rowan alum who's been a cinematographer out in LA for a number of years to teach the cinematography class. So there'll be a Rowan adjunct out there to teach. Unless any of you guys want to fly out, you're more than welcome to.
You gotta bring me. Bye, thank you.
Yep. But I'll be out there for a while, just kind of making sure everything is working correctly. Other questions? Yes? It'll probably start up, I think, in about a month. And then the deadline will be around the beginning of December. We'll announce all the people who were chosen for the program by the beginning of January. Glad there's interest in this. Like I said, going to LA can be a life-changing opportunity. And I realize it's expensive. Absolutely, and I'm trying to raise as much money as I can to try to help you guys out so that it gets cheaper. But it's just something that costs a bunch of money. Any other questions about rowing in LA? Yes?
I'm really looking for current sophomores, just like current juniors.
Current juniors. But if you're a sophomore now, like start thinking about getting your stuff together, some media production that you could apply for this when you're a junior. But yeah.
What if you like apply and say like get it, but end up not being able to go? Like, what would you do?
We have to kill you then. Sorry, I'm warning you right now. It's like we'll have to kill you. We're not going to be asking you to put a down payment on it, so and you have plenty of time. I think you'll have the whole spring semester to make sure that it's going to work. But I feel like if I take it a cohort of 18, if one or two drop out, it can still work. So.
Also,
You just have a ton of questions.
Yeah, one more. Like, what happens if you like apply, you get accepted, but then you can't end up getting like an internship?
You'll get an internship. The reason I say that is I've talked to 5 or 6 universities that run LA programs, and they said we've never had a problem with students getting internships. So that apparently is not a challenge for this. We'll have a website available for you. There'll be a whole list of internship opportunities. So honestly, I don't think that's going to be an issue. It's like, media production central. They're all, a lot of these companies are looking for interns. The key is, we hope to try to get some paid ones so that, there's a little bit of money coming in, but a lot of them are unpaid internships, but you'll just learn a lot of it. Other questions? Yes?
So when can you start over?
I'll probably start the application process in October. So what is that, 2 weeks from now? I'll be sending out information. We've got a place where you'll apply to. And like I said, the application will be open for about 2 months, and then we'll close it at the end of the semester.
So people who apply like later, like say in December or something, they still have the same chance as people who applied in October, right?
Yeah. We may look at the applications, but until the cutoff date is there, it doesn't necessarily benefit you to get it in early. It's just that if you get it in before the end of class, then you're not as stressed out with all the other stuff that's due at the end of the semester. So it's all about let's get that work over a little earlier, and then I can focus on other stuff. Does that make sense? Other questions? Boy, you guys have really good questions about this program. Anything else? And you can always, again, see me, email me, make an appointment to stop by if you have other concerns about this LA program and you want to speak to me privately. Happy to talk about it. Like I said, this can be a real game changer for people to have an experience of working and living in LA for a while. Last thing I want to talk about is scholarships. We have the Ned Eckhart Television Production Scholarship. Ned was a wonderful faculty member here, retired a couple years ago, and he seeded us one scholarship that right now is generating about $2,000. These scholarships are for a year, so you'll probably apply for them in January. I just want you to be aware of this. $2,000, that's not a bad amount of money. The other one's a little bit more. Salva Family Scholarship. Larry Salva was an alumnus, was the comptroller of Comcast for a number of years. He's also seeded a scholarship. That one generates about $4,000 a year. So 2 not bad scholarships. Just be on the lookout for that. Most likely, again, you'll apply at the beginning of January. We'll let you know probably around the beginning of February if you've got the scholarship or not. Guess what? That's all, folks. Any questions? You got some faculty members? Yeah, go ahead.
Is the scholarship like an essay or something?
Yeah, it's probably going to be pretty similar to the LA program. Cover letter, resume, and if you have work, because the one is a television production scholarship. So we're looking for students that kind of excel in television production. So it'll be somewhat similar. Other questions? Faculty, did I get everything? No, that money is redirected to the LA program. So that goes to seed some of those students. Oh, thank you. Oh, Joe, too, the screening. All right, John, go ahead with the Media Fest right now while we're thinking about it.
So just so you know, every year we do a media festival here at Rowan. It's a competitive festival where we show the best work from all the production classes, and screenwriting, and media, and narrative film, documentary. So we do this big night here where we screen, the submission process just like a regular film festival, and the top ones get sent out. All of them get sent out to judges that are non-Rowan judges, so people in the industry all over the world really watch the work and pick their top selections. Then we screen those. It's an award ceremony at the end.
And trophies.
And trophies. And Wawa gift cards. And so
top prize, we give out cars, vacation homes in Malibu, and washers and dryers.
Tuition for that LA trip, right? So that's going to be in April of next year. The submission process will start at the beginning of next semester. Just keep an eye out for that, and remember that this semester, if you're in a production class, that work will be eligible for submission at the beginning of next year. So keep that in mind when you're doing that work.
So that the work you do in a class actually can, mean something outside of that classwork, and can be used in this festival. I'll add too that the second day, it's now a 2-day festival. The second day is for high school students. So if some of you may be freshmen and may have come from really, good high schools that do, have good production programs, let them know that the second day will take work from high school students in some of the same categories. Did we get everything? The high school, the RTF Media Festival, it's in April, right?
Yeah.
It'll be in April. Okay. So,
We're also starting this year a faculty screening series. One of the ideas was that faculty, we all got into this by seeing different films that sort of got us going. And we thought we'd share those. We thought we'd try to come in and pick once a month, have a faculty member come and screen a film and talk. Very casual, come down, we'll watch a film, we'll talk about it. Also give you an opportunity to talk about the films that you're interested in and things like that. We'll be here in the auditorium. We're going to start it in October. We have 3 faculty members that have signed up for the fall semester. I will wrangle 3 more for the spring. I'm going to kick it off in October, the first week of October, Tuesday the 8th, I think it is. I'm going to be talking about the horror host in Philadelphia, a guy named Dr. Shock. that when I was 10 years old, used to climb out of a coffin and scare the daylights out of me at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday night.
Now they just do it to put it on Instagram.
Yeah, right. So now what I'm gonna do is show one of the films I saw at that age, and just sort of say, so this film, now you'd probably look and go, it's kind of goofy, but imagine you're 10 years old, everybody else is asleep, you're watching on a little portable black and white TV in a dark house. You're not supposed to be up anyway. So I'm going to start with that, and that's sort of where my love of film started. The following month in November, David Van Cooley is going to come and talk about Stanley Kubrick's Clockwork Orange and see that. Talk about how he drove across multiple states to go see it when he was in college. And then in December, Professor Brand is going to come and talk about Koaniskatsi, a really interesting documentary sort of film that came out in the 1980s with a score by the avant-garde composer Philip Glass. And so those are the first three we're going to do. It'll be here, it'll be casual. You come in, we'll watch the movie, we'll talk, give you a chance to maybe talk about your own interest in film. And I hear we might have popcorn.
I'm going to try to do popcorn too. Yeah.
So that's the kind of event.
I sort of, I think all of us, the faculty got together and really started to think about, if you are really, really interested in film, you need to start seeing films, beyond the ones that came out within the last 5 years. So here's a chance to, have a place where, we can talk about films that really moved us for one reason or another. And then you kind of get a chance to expand your palette a little bit on film and television. I think we're going to also kind of include television in there. So I hope you take an advantage of this, because like I said, I just think it's a great opportunity to see films that you may not have ever seen before, and challenge you a little bit on on what interests us about these films. All right. Any other questions? Don't want to keep you much longer than we have to. Glad you came here. Any other questions? Yes. It's got a really, really funny title. It's called Advanced Film. That's it. It's kind of easy to know what it is. Like a lot of our classes, they are what they say. So that one is just called Advanced Film. Yep. Anything else?